You got the shackles on me, yeah, but I just wanna be free, yeah. Don't need an X-ray to see, yeah, that it's time to shake your skeletons. Shake your skeletons. Shake your skeletons.
So hey, this is Ann. I'm here with part of this century.
Half. Hi.
So why don't you start by introducing yourselves, instruments that you play, role in the band.
Cool. I'm Alex. I play keys and used to play bass and sing a little bit now.
And my name is Sean. I play guitar, and I play guitar. And sometimes also I play guitar. So I do all three things.
Cool. So this year has kind of been a cool year for you guys with a lot of touring to a lot of really cool places.
Yes.
Most recently the Philippines.
Yeah.
So what was it like going over there and seeing how big of a fan base you actually have?
It is crazy.
Nuts. I mean, we had gone there once before, earlier in the year, right?
Yeah.
Like 6 months prior to that. And that was like just shocking to us already. And the fans are just incredible. And then going back there the second time, we didn't really know what to expect. We had a little bit of anticipation just because of going there once already, but they just wowed us again, and it's just shocking to go over there and have such a crazy fan base. You know, coming from the U.S., we have really dedicated fans, but it's not really quite the same as going over there. You know?
I just think there's like this passion for it. You know, over there they don't see the band as much, and so when they get the opportunity to, you know, it's like a really cool experience, I think, for them.
Yeah.
As well. So.
Cool. And I know there's new music on the way for
Yeah.
next year. So
Yeah.
what is the sound kind of taking shape as? I mean, is it similar? Is it completely different? Like, what can people expect to hear?
I mean, I think that the new record is pretty different from what we've done previously in that one of the things we really wanted to do is we wanted to bring in a lot of the synths and the electronic elements that we've never gotten to do, because the electronic elements were something that we always heard in the music, but we just were like, how are we going to execute it? How are we going to go for being? Because originally we were a band that was very alternative in progressive, and then we started listening to a lot of funk music, and then that started happening, and a lot of like electronic music then took over this new record a little bit, and we're just trying out some new things, and I think there's that aspect to it, but also I just think it's a really fun record. It's really fun record to just jam out to.
Yeah, it's now that we added the keyboard element to the live show, we wanted to implement that, like he was saying, into the into the new sound. So there is a lot more synth-driven stuff. It's not like clubs banger music.
There's no dubstep on the record.
Yeah, there's no dubstep, but there's definitely synth and electronic elements and drum things that are a little more technical than just before. We were kind of going more of an alternative indie rock vibe from Sound of Fire. So it'll be different, but we tried to keep some of the integrity there of a rock band. And
I just think we wanted to do something that's like we had done this sound for so long, and we were like, for us, we just wanted to try something just new, just to, and if fans I hope fans like it.
So far
it's been good response, but I mean,
we'll see.
We'll cross our fingers.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've kind of learned more about and talked to people more about is the transition from what something sounds like recorded to what it sounds like live, and playing certain songs, and especially when you have different elements like synth and that kind of stuff. There's different ways to translate it to a live show. Sometimes you leave parts out, sometimes you add stuff in these tracks and stuff. So how do you guys translate the recorded stuff to the live show?
That's a good question.
That's a really good question. Yeah, I started playing keyboard specifically for that purpose, because we were starting to get worried. We're like, okay, well, we have this record, it's got tons of synth, there's just no way, and we're not one of those bands that are really big on tracks. I mean, we run a couple of tracks that are more just to fill out space, but definitely don't want to have like a full song of just tracks, backing tracks. We don't like doing that. So I started playing keys, and now we're gonna, even by the time that record's out, we'll implement even more synth-oriented things.
But the big thing is we want to, the way that, because everyone's like, they'll hear the new recordings, like we've shown some people the new recordings, and they love the songs, and they're like, how the heck are you guys going to do some of this stuff? And I like that challenge. I think that's what's really cool, is like, okay, yeah, how are we going to do it? Alex stopped playing bass, and started playing, he plays simultaneously keyboards with his right hand, and he plays bass with his left hand. Right. So we programmed that, and then we're going to add an auxiliary player at some point in the very near future that's going to be doing percussion and other synth stuff, so we can actually pull it off in a very organic,
we want to pull it off live.
I don't want to be the press play band. I always wanted to be the band that took those very, like experimental electronic elements and did it live and actually produced the sound, and it wasn't just some computer doing all the work. So.
And then tonight's a hometown show.
Yeah.
And it's a holiday show, so a lot of your friends are all back at home now.
Yeah.
So what's it like knowing that a bunch of the guys that might have gone off to different states now or have been on tour a lot of this year are going to be able to be here and hang out, and you'll get to see a lot of these people?
It's awesome. Yeah, it's always nice to see our buddies back home, because they travel a ton also, and even just the people on the show are our buddies, and it's cool. It's going to be fun.
No, I mean, every time that we've done an AZ show in the last, probably year, we haven't really, everyone's been dispersed,
gone,
so it's always nice at Christmas time. Everyone kind of lets go of that stuff for just, a week. There's, a week period. Even us, after the show, we're shutting down. We're going to do the shows on the 27th and 28th, and then there's going to be we're going to take a little small breather, because next year is going to be so crazy, and we have a lot to do to prep for next year, so we need at least a week. Would be nice. Yeah.
Cool. And what are you most looking forward to next year? I mean, obviously there's new music coming out, but on top of that, what?
I think just hope. I mean, we've discussed this year traveling to new places that we've never been to, so I'm hoping we get to follow through on those opportunities and get to see more of the world.
Yeah, I really think that's the big thing, is that we're trying to learn how to, because for a long time we were always the opening band for a lot of stuff, and we probably will be for a very long time, which is totally fine. But there's something about, we had done so many headlining sets for so long, and doing all these DIY tours, and learning how to do a headlining set is very different. It's a different thing than doing an opening set, because you're trying to put on a more of a rounded show of all your catalog versus just here are the songs that we need to get across, and so we're trying to learn, now that we have a lot of new songs, how we're going to integrate these new songs and be able to travel the world and show people that may have never heard the band, this is what we are and this is what we were, and still make it all work together. So that'll be a fun thing to figure out, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And I guess to go off of what you're saying about visiting new places, what are some of the places that you want to try and get to?
Brazil is a big one.
Singapore,
Malaysia, Indonesia. I'd like to go back to Canada. We haven't been back to Canada in a little while.
Definitely Philippines,
UK, all over Europe again. Europe was crazy. Europe was
that
amazing.
was insane.
Every place, Spain, and
maybe Australia. That would be
Australia.
We've always wanted.
I'm just naming out.
I think we're just naming places now.
Now we're just naming
not practical.
But I mean, realistically, we've made an unrealistic goal to visit every single place in 2013, and I think we can do it if we're really, really determined not to sleep ever.
Yeah.
So I think
the jet lag part.
We're just so. I think the excitement of the new record is enough to make us. You know what I mean? Because Sound of Fire has been out for, when the new record comes out, it'll probably be almost 2 years. It'll probably be a little less than 2 years. But that's a long time to be playing the same songs. And it's not that we don't love that record, because we really do. It's just, we've grown a lot in 2 years as musicians, as people. And we're much more rounded. And traveling the world is a big reason why we did this in the first place. So I think that now that we actually see these opportunities, we're we better do them now, because who knows, you never know, so might as well do now.
Cool. And then I guess, lastly, because it's the holidays, obviously, do you have favorite holiday traditions?
Well, for me this year, we're both Jewish, so we usually do the Hanukkah thing, but we did that this year, which is, we usually light the menorah, get some presents, eat some latkes.
Here's a big misconception is that Jews get presents 8 days in a row.
Yeah,
I know.
Okay,
Yeah.
When does that ever happen?
It doesn't.
Tell me the family that gets presents every 8 days.
Yeah,
and
you get your
and
gifts on
also
one
the
day.
ones that I know that have, it's always like, oh, here's some tube socks. And it's like,
Right.
what? Now you're just ruining the holiday.
No,
Now
and
I'm
then
bummed.
this year I'm doing Christmas too. So I set up a huge Christmas tree that touches the ceiling of my studio apartment.
We were just really envious of it.
Yeah, I just really wanted to do it, so that's pretty cool this year to do Christmas and Hanukkah.
So,
Next year Kwanzaa. That's cool.
our dorm room, I had like, because we can't have candles, so my mom sent me glow stick menorah.
That's
Which was really cool. And then my roommate does Christmas and all that, so we had like lights and stuff all over the room, and it was just like a
That's
very
cool.
festive.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think the
Yeah.
holidays, like there's something about like even tonight we went real big with the production tonight. We bought some Christmas lights because we were like, I always love the way. I always remember seeing bands when we go and see other Christmas shows. I always love seeing like just some Christmas lights floating around. Just always
Yeah,
felt
it's
Christmas lights
magical.
instantly feels magical to me.
It
And
does.
so we were like, why don't we?
Yeah.
We were like, why don't we just
Wrap stuff up.
wrap stuff up and
Throw
throw
it
some
on.
Christmas lights around and make it feel a little festive tonight. So
Yeah.
hopefully we'll do that.